Hello again. Today we are working on this 1979 Harley-Davidson lowrider. This has been a project bike of mine for quite a few years. It's something that has sat on the back burner for a long time. I've had quite a few different ideas on what I was going to do with it. Had the original idea of taking the bike and turning it into a hardtail chopper, chopping the frame, getting a hardtail kit put on, but that's never materialized. Never had a good, clear vision of what to do with this bike. It has some parts on it that are incorrect, some parts that are correct. It does run very well. So today we're going to work on actually breaking this bike down. We're going to get the tanks off of it, get the seat off of it, and work on getting some parts out of it here. So follow along. We'll start by getting the seat off first. Someone's cat got a hold of the seat, stuck its claws in it a few times, and kind of made a little bit of a mess of the seat. Still in good shape, isn't really falling apart too bad. Just has an old paint on it, unfortunately. That's something that I feel that someone could reuse. Next we'll work on getting this dash uninstalled. The bike shows 27,000 original miles. I believe that to be correct. Based on the guy that I bought the bike from, he actually picked it up from a friend of his, and the story goes that it was bought new by his buddy. I did speak to his friend and talk to him about the work that was done on the bike, and I know it's got a fair bit of work done to the inside of the bike being rebuilt recently, but it has been sitting for the past few years. I know the carburetor will need to come out and be cleaned. I know that all that will have to be gone through and made fresh again. Someone has gone through and done some work to lower the bike all the way around. It does have lowering springs in the front and lowering shocks in the rear. I've ridden the bike a couple of times and it doesn't ride very well. The front really floats. Not sure what was used to lower the front. I'm assuming it's cut springs, and that does make it ride pretty bad, honestly. The trip meter is not actually hooked up on this bike at all. The reset is actually tucked next to the wiring down here. Not exactly sure why that is, but now it's untucked and the dash is free. Next I'll work on these tanks here. I don't believe there's any fuel in the tanks anymore. I haven't checked in a little while. Looks really dry in there. The tanks are actually really clean. They do smell of old fuel. I guess there might be a little bit in the bottom of the left tank. I did not unhook the battery because the battery is dead. It's one of the things that I knew about the bike for a long time. The battery has been bad. I tendered it for a little while to make it work, but I knew the battery wasn't in good shape. It doesn't hold any kind of a charge. You'll charge it up, get it going. It's good for about one start, and then it's shot after that. Typically I would take the battery out first, but I know this one is absolutely dead. I did test it before the video started. I know a lot of people will comment on that later, asking me why I didn't actually check the battery first. You get a set of wrenches here, and I'll be right back. All right, found my wrenches. I did not unpack all of my new Milwaukee tools real well yet. Kind of forgot which wrenches I was going to be using, and based on the fact that I don't have a toolbox right now, it does make it a little difficult. Extra long bolt in the tank here. I guess that one's going to spin, so we're going to get a ratchet on that too. I guess that's really on there. Well, I wasn't thinking I was going to bust out the impact just yet. Maybe we will. That makes quick work of that. Try out this new ratcheting wrench. They seem to be pretty nice. Should come out. All right, let's get a hammer, I guess. Pound it out a little bit. Try hitting with the 16-ounce dead load just to tunk it out. There we go. That bolt is in there tight. I'll work on this front mount here, see how we can get that. Should be able to get on that with a socket wrench, I hope. See if the other side is spinning here. And sure enough it is. All right, that's undone. What I'd like to do next is get this fuel line off. And we're gonna have to drain this old gas from that left tank. This stuff looks pretty gross in there. I'll have to find an old gas can to put that in. Okay, we found us a gas can. We'll go ahead and start trying to get this fuel to drain. See what it does. It's pretty thick, it's pretty gross. Hopefully, it will drain. The fuel line's real stiff too. See, it seems to be stuck. Just wired a little coat hanger in there or some sort of loop. It's not the factory loop that's usually through there. It's something someone put in later. It's hanging on. So we can get enough gravity here to feed down into this old yucky tank. If it'll even move through the fuel filter, it might not. That fuel filter's pretty clogged, pretty gross looking. That's kind of moving. It's trying to move. While that's doing that, I think we'll remove this other fuel line here. Let's crossover tube and see if we can make some headway on getting this thing apart. I don't know if this is going to leak when I do this. I know that the right tank is fairly dry. I don't believe it'll leak once I get this side off, but we'll see. We'll find out. If we do, there'll be a lot of gas to clean up. We've got some rags. Whoever installed this braided line didn't cut it, didn't finish the ends, didn't do a very good job, unfortunately. So there's a lot of burrs on this thing. It keeps sticking me in the hand. It doesn't feel real nice. There we go. So there might be a little fuel in there. Tuck that up so it's at least higher. Finish removing this side here. I can get that right tank off. The seals come right off the cap. So get that back on there real quick. There we are. So far, the frame looks like it's in really good shape. It's, you know, it's mount tabs and everything looks to be factory, which is nice to see. I've messed with a lot of these old shovel heads, and commonly the frames have been cut up, hacked up, fixed, repaired, bent up, beat up. This one looks to be in real good shape. But we'll find out more once we get to the bottom of everything, get these tanks off, get this motor out, take a good look at it all. See if we can pry off this top crossover line. It's not a hose clamp on either side, so hopefully it'll come off well. There we are. And one tank out. They're an aftermarket tank. It's kind of what I suspected. I wasn't quite sure. Stand there real well. As you can see, someone has gone through and rattle canned the entire motor and transmission and everything with a flat black. It's a good look, but I don't really love it. Someone else will have to go through and clean it up. The thing's coming off the rocker boxes. Good washing should make a difference. See how that fuel's draining, see if it's coming out. Super close yet. Yeah, it's slowly draining. Slowly getting there. I think while that drains, we'll work on getting the inner and outer primary cover off. So that'll be the next step. Now let's pull this primary cover off and see how far we can get with this teardown today. missed one. I always miss one. Let's set that aside. Someone did convert this to a belt drive setup. It's a nice belt drive. I'm not really sure about the clutch hub setup here. I've always seen springs. I've never seen this outer plate on this type of application. I'm sure people have used it in the past. I could not get it to adjust properly this way. I feel like it wasn't done right, or maybe that's not the right way to do it. I'm not exactly sure. You know, again, I've never used this type of a setup. I don't know if you can see that with the camera in close here so you can take a look at it. It's kind of a weird setup. Probably been done before. Someone probably has perfected it. I'm not really sure. I've never used it, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. But again, I could not get it to adjust properly. Had it close a few times. The belt honestly doesn't have a whole lot of wear on it, so I'm not sure how long this setup has been in the bike. The gas is pretty close to being drained all the way out. There's still going to be a little residual in there, and I'll put the tanks in that bucket over there. And that should help it to drain the rest of the way. Just keep it contained in one spot so I'm not getting it all over the floor. Different. Again, I've never seen that type of a setup. So I'm going to cut the back side of the adjuster off and left it pretty raw. Unfortunately, I don't have my puller today. I don't have a way to remove this clutch hub yet. I don't have the right size socket for the compensating nut or the right impact wrench, so I'll have to do that tomorrow. But for now, we'll get this tank off. We'll get the rest of this stuff pulled apart, and we'll get this motor pretty well ready to go. It should be fairly close. By tomorrow, I should be able to have this whole motor pulled out, and that way we can figure out what to do with the rest of this stuff, get it pulled apart, get it cataloged. Need to make a note, that way I can get myself an oil catch can for tomorrow as well. So I can be prepared to empty all the fluids out of this thing, out of the oil tank. Try not to make a giant mess. Stick this in the bucket over here. Tanks from getting beat up too bad. Looks like the solenoid was replaced recently. There's some new wires on there. Oh, all the oil's right in the top end. So it hasn't sat too long, thankfully. That's a good thing. Hopefully I can get most of that off of the drain plug here, which will make it nice. Make less of a mess that way. Nope, wrong size. Some of these sizes I've committed to memory. I usually can pick them right up and remember what they are. Some of these I haven't. I haven't replaced a whole lot of solenoids, so I don't have all the sizes quite memorized yet. Things I'm working on. Next we'll pull the horn. It's not really in the way. We can at least get some things out of the way today in preparation for tomorrow. Eventually the whole entire bike will be torn down to nothing. It'll be all individual pieces. The motor is scheduled to go to a new home. A good friend of mine has an older Shovelhead. He is taking the motor out of to get it rebuilt and needs something in the interim. This motor, being that it was rebuilt recently, is in good shape and does run very well. So this will get him up and running until his motor can be finalized. At least the motor will see some miles soon. The rest of the parts will be taken off and sold individually on eBay. That's where I sell everything, honestly. I do a little bit on Facebook Marketplace, not much. I haven't had very good success with that, so I don't plan on putting any of these items on there. I do plan on putting them all on eBay. That way, you know, they can be sold to anybody across the globe. I'm getting this kickstand off next. It's just going to be in the way. Get a socket for that and get that off of there. The paint on some of these parts is holding a lot of this stuff together. Like, again, a lot of the stuff was spray painted with a flat black spray paint. It's really on all the fasteners. It's on everything. It's honestly everywhere. I assume they left the bike together when they painted it like that. I really don't know. It looks like it. It doesn't look like it was a high temp paint or anything like that, based on how the cylinders are looking. I'm sure there's a better way to get these off of here. And this is the way that I've done it forever. Not that this is the correct way, but this is how I do it. Which I fight it a lot. I'm sure someone will tell me that there's a better way and probably tell me how to do it. Which is fine. I welcome the suggestions. I like suggestions. I like learning new things. I feel like I could probably get to it easier. I pulled the rectifier and came across the back. That's probably the proper way to do it. And I think I'll actually attempt that this time. Just because, again, I don't do it that way normally. So we'll give it a shot today. See if that works. I feel like there's a nut on the back side of that too. Yep, I think there is. I think that's not going to work either. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything to this. Possibly. Maybe I can get in that way. Give me enough. Let's see. Let's get an extension. We'll pull the highway peg off the other side real quick here. That'll probably give me a little better angle. Looks like that will give me just enough to get to it. So if I can rig that to set, maybe that'll set there just fine. Grab my wrench and see if we can get this off of here. That takes care of one. Now, how do we get to the other one? Close. I think we'll get the other one hopefully with a wrench here and a socket. Can't see that one from the other side, so I don't think I can get to it without going from here. Sure, it would be much easier with the primary off. off just fine. Brings the kickstand off. Now we'll get this highway peg off. We're going to use a little power. Next quick work of that. Second highway peg. Get the rectifier out. Sure is a couple little nuts on the other side of that. Not sure if they're supposed to spin free or not. Probably aren't. It's a 7/16 wrench. The wire's unhooked here. Ground wire hooked to this. It's not very heavy duty ground wire. I'm kind of surprised to see that one there. Not sure who put that on or what it's even off of, but it definitely does not look like a Harley ground. It's a thin strap, wire strap. Homemade piece. Different. Alright, that's unplugged. I like to put the nuts and bolts back in where they came from. A lot of that stuff I like to send along to the new owner when I sell these parts. And often I don't need them for anything. It doesn't make sense to hang on to all these things. I do have quite a few different parts and pieces laying around that I can utilize if I did need them, but I like to take these extras. I like to send them to their new home, to the new owner. That way at least they have a start point on some of this hardware. Not that all of it's correct. A lot of this stuff is not Harley-Davidson fasteners and pieces. What I've noticed is a lot of these bolts are grade 8 bolts, which came off of whatever, or came from the hardware store or wherever. And I know that they're not the right parts. I think from here we're going to get some wire cutters, and we're going to start cutting some of these zip ties and start unwiring some of these pieces. There's a lot of these things that don't need to be in the way. If I can tuck them all back and pull them back as far as I can get them. That'll help me when I do get ready to pull the motor. The whole wiring harness I like to leave together, that way it's an uncut piece. This wiring harness looks like it's in really good shape, honestly, other than being dirty. It looks complete, it looks proper as far as the main harness goes. I have not seen inside the headlight yet, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to find once I get in there, but I do feel that it's going to be in good shape just based on what I'm seeing on the bike. It does look like it was pretty well kept. So let's get some cutters and start cutting these off of there. Nice little set of Milwaukee snips. Milwaukee makes a lot of really great tools, and I use a lot of them. You'll see them in my videos. Again, they don't pay me for a sponsorship or anything like that. It'd be great if they did, that's for sure. I do love using their tools, and I will always advocate for their products because, like I said, they are built very well. Get that out of the way. Clutch kit is pretty long. It's fed in really nice though, so they did a good job with that. We'll find where they're at. And I think for today this is as far as we're going to go. So we'll see you next time.